Welcome back to the Quake World Championship. It's time for the round of 8. I'm DJ Wheat, joined now by ZSX and 40 Lions. And apparently, in order to eliminate N8 bias, they put you right in the middle between us.
The man of reason.
40, it's okay. It's all good. Oh, yeah.
He'll be here for a little bit. It's fine. We'll kick him out later.
We got RAPHA versus NOSFA coming up next. And as I mentioned, right, we've gotten through the round of 16 now. If you've been also tracking the games that are going on at the B stage, we have had all of the round of 16 played. And now we're moving on to not only elimination matches, but then the round of 8 where things are absolutely starting to heat up.
Yeah, and obviously we have, you know, probably the second favorite for the championship in RAPHA coming up on the stage here in his home turf, and he was looking mighty fine earlier today.
Yeah, he was.
But he's also going up against now NOSFA, who's taken down the proclaimed future champion in Shane to the lower bracket in a very good series on the B stream. And he's been building his way as well into this set, but he is going up against this guy who is just, he's looking laser focused in this event so far.
And we wouldn't expect anything less. Hometown hero. We'll see what the Sausage King of Chicago has in store for us this time against NOSFA. Got him again, boys. Woo! But yes, this one should be a fantastic matchup. Looking forward to seeing how both players approach this one.
Shouldn't be listening to us, RAPHA.
Yeah, how dare you?
Oh, come on.
He doesn't have his headphones on yet. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. And then NOSFA, right? Someone, maybe we'll get a chance to look at how we did during the season, but you know, NOSFA's had some great wins as well throughout the season. And I think this is probably a great opponent for RAPHA up there. It's gonna test NOSFA. It's gonna allow him to potentially create some sort of an upset. But I would definitely say it's a larger uphill battle here for NOSFA than it is for RAPHA.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He had an erratic season. I think he's quite an erratic player, right? When he shows up to play, he can look really quite astounding. But it's one of those facts is few and far between. We've seen that consistency come out from him. Again, look, good results all round, but didn't quite do enough to make it to the top 8. So he's somebody that hasn't progressed as much as others might want him to this point, right? He hasn't broken into that level. We've seen Max to getting top 4. You know, maybe this is NOSFA's turn. He's definitely got the ingredients there, but we haven't just seen it from him yet.
I mean, if you take a look at the bottom where he played RAPHA, you know, it didn't really go his way. So probably more of a redemption game here. Stakes are infinitely higher as well. So we'll see how he can perform and kind of overcome this demon that, you know, RAPHA's a demon for a lot of these players in this league.
You know, you also cannot forget at the last finals, NOSFA kind of sort of, you know, he put his feet down and he caused some damage there near the end. And so, right, is the land setting, the tournament setting, those 18 weeks are behind you. It doesn't matter anymore. Maybe NOSFA has, right, he's turning on that land fire, and we'll see what happens here at the live event.
He's been in the States for a while now. You know, he's accustomed to it. He's not on 180 ping or whatever he has to play with. It's,
something ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's even playing field, and he has been looking good in practice as well.
Well, before we go to the picks and bans, let's actually hear from NOSFA in an interview that we did before QuakeCon began.
My username is NOSFA, and I'm currently not representing any organization. Yeah, I'm a free agent. My username, my nickname comes from, it's actually a short for Nosferatus. And well, there used to be like a TV novel back in the days in Brazil, and that's where I got my nickname from. My favorite champion is Ranger, and probably because you can get like very creative with the usage of his Dire Orb, and you can also get like very, you know, passive and aggressive at times. So it's a really overall strong champion in my opinion. My favorite weapon is Rail. It's actually like the weapon that I'm best at. But if I could choose, I would choose to, you know, be good with rockets instead. This is actually my second QuakeCon. My first QuakeCon was in 2019, before all the pandemic stuff. I'm excited to play. Actually, I don't have like you know, a preference at all, but I would like to play different players than I played last year. Who I think it's gonna win? Well, as a competitor, I would like to say myself, but I think anyone in the top 8 have good chances of taking the belt home. I would like to give a huge shout out to the South American community. They have always been very supporting towards me, and also the people that helped me come early to, you know, do a boot camp in practice. RAPHA, Rotten Rose, and Jahar. So shout outs to them.
Awesome.
Yeah, wholesome.
I said awesome, but wholesome works too.
Are you guys going to fight now?
No,
All right.
no, that's for later.
I mean,
That's for later.
Yeah, I mean, we love to see it. NOSFA saying that he loves Ranger, those creative plays. It kind of plays into that play style where you're like, you know, he's a little bit of a wild card when he wants to be, playing a little bit aggressive, getting up in your face, making those risky plays. Ranger absolutely plays into that. Whether or not we're going to see him be able to pick that, we'll see shortly.
Also, the first player to say, I'm going to win this, right?
Yeah,
so I got
love
to give
it.
some props there.
I love
like,
that.
Have
I do love that.
Have that confidence. I mean, we haven't seen all the interviews yet, so it's possible, but NOSFA gets the first tick in his column there for the win. So.
But he also made a good point. I mean, that, you know, virtually any player, particularly in the top 8, can win it. And we've seen that disruption come before.
And you know what? It might be Strong Sage at the end of like coming out of nowhere, first league, let's go. Actually, I'm excited to see how he plays in the round of 8. But yeah, let's take a look at the picks and bans. That's going to tell us a lot. Based off of what I'm seeing right now, it already looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. We've got Blood Covenant for number 1. We're going to go to Keep. And then finally, Awoken. I really like this map pool that we've got here for this match. But ZSX, what do you think about our champs here?
I like it across the board. Luckily, we didn't see the visor come out on Blood Covenant this time, so it's going to be a lot more even. NOSFA's gone for the slash, and we've seen him play that in League play a lot when it's on the board. He bans out the Nyx, obviously just does not want to deal with that. But you would expect RAPHA to pick the Athena, so I can see a game plan coming out on the slash, and you can put that pressure on. Obviously, we're doing 2 grapples now. The speed of slash can cause a little bit of chaos when it comes to that Athena, so if he can get that rail firing and then follow that up with a close range shotgun, that's where slash becomes really, really powerful. And it's similar on Corrupted Keep. We haven't seen an awful lot of Anarchy, at least in the matches I've been casting, but again, that you can really push the tempo out on that. And he said he likes Ranger, but he didn't pick it 40.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous to see, but I mean, maybe mind games too, Dan, who knows. But most importantly, no Keel again. He is 3-0 in this event. I'm just saying, for those playing the home version. But look at that clutch ban at the very end, because RAPHA's been playing a little bit more clutch, and NOSFA was like, I don't want to deal with that at all.
I wouldn't want to deal with it either. But, you know, on Awoken too, we just saw Razy kind of walk away, and I always love those little wild cards thrown in, because it kind of makes you second guess a little bit, like, what should I pick versus what I should ban, and what are the possibilities based off of the maps as well. Of course, we're going to get to, you know, best of 5s and best of 7s and whatnot tomorrow, which the champion pool will need to go deeper. But pretty much what I kind of expected to see here, these two.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting opting just for the Anarchy over the Ranger when he had the opportunity to take it away. So that's the only one I'm looking at going, well, what is your game plan with the Anarchy? We know how to, you want to just play that rotation. Doesn't really change too much. Allows you to play a little bit quicker throughout the map,
right.
But you know, don't have that burst potential. And you're vulnerable to the burst potential as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, even maybe like a BJ pick might have been more common to see on Corrupted Keep. But yeah, he's got something up his sleeve, and we'll see on map number 2, but it should be a good one, as we see down below. Loading up shortly in Blood Covenant. Dan, overall predictions, anything?
It's hard to not side with RAPHA, and
God, you're so NA biased, dude.
Disgusting.
2-0. No, I don't know, man. Like, from what I saw of RAPHA this morning, you would expect him to walk away with this. I think NOSFA will make it closer than we saw earlier today. But even with the drafting here, right, there's nothing too one-sided. It's just going to come down to who can play better. And from what we've seen from RAPHA, I'm going to give it 2-0.
Okay. But 2-1 or 2-0?
Sorry?
2-1 or 2-0?
2-0.
Wow, I'm going to say at least 2-1. I feel like.
Well, you always do.
I know.
That's to be expected.
Yeah. Always know if Keel was on there, it'd be a blowout. But, you know, they're not giving me what I need, so.
All right, fair enough. I think like what we see from RAPHA out of the gate, we know he feels comfortable on that Athena. In fact, he's been one of the competitors in the QPL who I think has kind of dictated that meta that we've seen a lot of others pick up. So in terms of comfortable picks, I think that's right where he wants to be. And we're loading into our first map up here, but we'll see here in a moment. Any final thoughts, Dan, before we just
throw you off the stage?
Yeah.
Not really, actually. I think you weren't as bad as I thought it was going to be, so I didn't have to do too much.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, we'll see you back here when we go. You can't leave yet because the camera's still on us, unless you just.
Yeah, exactly. Take the elevator out of here.
My knees are not handling.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, now I can go.
All right,
cool.
Now you can go.
Thank you.
All right,
You're
thank
free.
You. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we are getting started here on Blood Covenant. It's going to be Athena versus Slash in this first game. RAPHA versus NOSFA. 40, what up?
What's up? How are you, Weed?
I'm great.
I love it, man. Quake all day, every stream right here. As we are live right now on map number 1, RAPHA dropping down for that LG early. Both items are still left up. A little bit of rocket damage here. RAPHA has to be careful.
Yeah, even a little head tilt there, like, how'd that happen?
Wait a minute, yeah.
But, you know, it's Quake. Not everything can go your way. Inevitably, there's going to be a little bit of chaos thrown in here. Oh, that rocket just barely missing there. Good foresight on that one. But I kind of expect that we've seen this a lot, 40, is that these Blood Covenant games with lights be a little slower, right? A little more mid, long-range game. Now, I think that does change a little bit with Athena and then some of the hooks, but I think that's kind of what I will expect to see here in this play to start us off.
Absolutely. I mean, the lighter champ's obviously more mobile, but given the stack and off the spawn, you don't want to give up that first frag. NOSFA right now in a bad way. He needs to try and get out of here, but RAPHA, after missing 2 arrows, is going to disengage. He wants to pick up that Mega. The split on the items is pretty good, so now he has both item timings. He has a lower armor to fall back to if he wants. He might poke his head out here, try and get some damage before the next major.
Yeah, he missed that heavy machine gun, too. I think he was expecting to do some damage. He completely read it right. You know, NOSFA going right for that heavy. There, he's going to finally pick up, find a nice rail, follows up with a pair. And now going to grab some momentum immediately. Trail comes up.
Oh, yeah.
Another one. That's 3 in a row.
Beautiful.
Grab that light and the heavy. And his hook game is on point right now.
Oh, no. Through the telly, NOSFA, he needs to try and max damage. Can he turn this around? 36 HP, but finally goes down. But NOSFA got pretty good damage out of that, all things considered.
A lot of damage. I mean, way more than I expected. In fact, enough that, yeah, that Mega was picked up, but NOSFA actually went in for a potential kill right there. And that was good. He basically negated that Mega and didn't get a frag, but sort of equalized the advantage that I think RAPHA picked up right there.
Yeah, really nice fadeaway rail there from NOSFA. He's got a decent stack for this next heavy. RAPHA just wants to grab the armor, and he's going to just make sure that he respects that trail. Yeah, exactly.
Zoned.
Door's closed.
Yep. Now waiting, knows exactly where his opponent is. Ooh, takes the rocket, actually hooks down. I don't think he needed to do that, but was worried for maybe the follow-up there from NOSFA. NOSFA dodging that rail there as well. And this is kind of a scary moment because RAPHA knows exactly where his opponent is. I think he saw him drop down there too. Grabs that light and is just trying to starve his opponent out. But a fight for the heavy, great rocket coming out. NOSFA just avoiding that narrowly. But I like how NOSFA's playing. I think he's playing really solidly right now. Very, very low, about ready to just fall over, but he's holding on nicely.
Yeah, he's playing well. He needs to restack a little bit, but RAPHA's okay with giving up these majors as long as he gets that damage. You saw he's just punishing every single pickup that NOSFA has, and he's kind of leaving him pretty weak with not a lot to work with, but that's a huge defensive rocket from NOSFA, and unfortunately for RAPHA, he's going to miss with the follow-up rail. So NOSFA with a little bit of a stack here. Big rocket, almost gets sent off the map. This should be a finish for RAPHA, and indeed, the machine gun will take him down before the heavy pickup.
You know, I'm a little worried that NOSFA's been, staying on that bridge quite a bit, and I don't think that's going to work more than the one time that has now come out. I think RAPHA, we've seen him make the jump from the rocket, the hook from rocket over to that rail bridge. And now that he kind of has an idea on how NOSFA is sort of playing and his rotation, we're going to have to see him mix it up a little bit. But RAPHA now 2-0. We're only about to hit the 4-minute mark, so there is a ton of time. But I feel like RAPHA has just now kind of grabbed control with a tight grip. We'll see what happens here as they both head over to Mega.
Next Mega in 4 seconds. RAPHA has 9 majors to NOSFA's 4, and NOSFA hasn't gotten a single Mega yet. Good rail, but it was before the pickup, so RAPHA's okay with that, as now he could pepper back with machine gun. And 10 seconds till the heavy. NOSFA with some good damage, but look at that hook to reposition and steal away the light. RAPHA's so good at using Athena's mobility in those hooks. Yeah,
and he's constantly making NOSFA like kind of, unfortunately, like second guess because there's that mobility that you've got with Athena. So nice job by NOSFA, though, avoiding that. He's done a great job at reading those, but he knows the danger that hook presents, and now the LG comes out unanswered. Unfortunately, NOSFA not able to get in any hits, and that was a clean get with the LG there for RAPHA, giving him his 3rd frag.
Yeah, just cut him off. He had nowhere to go, so he hooked in, and LG down near the bookcase. And now 3-0. Good rail from NOSFA. Return from RAPHA. NOSFA has to go 3 for 3. RAPHA still railable, but grabs that health bubble before this heavy. NOSFA wants to try and punish here. He's taking so much damage, does finally hit a rail to make it somewhat worth it.
And I feel like if NOSFA's accuracy just improves a little bit with that rail, and he's hitting, you know, 1, 2 in a row. Ooh, nice.
That was a beaut.
From the air, it was beautiful. And I mean, NOSFA's hitting the rails, but it's those, if he hits those consecutive rails, that's really going to be devastating to RAPHA. So far, only RAPHA's been able to get those consecutive rails, and again, that mobility just absolutely working out for RAPHA right now.
Yeah, but that all comes back to stack, right? I mean, NOSFA has to hit more rails because RAPHA's getting all these majors, and NOSFA can't even get in on any of them. So RAPHA's okay with taking these trades. Now, something like that, unreturned damage is what NOSFA needs. But no, okay, somehow he makes that rocket work, but this is surely going to be a kill, even though he gives up the mega. It's very close, and the rail switch won't land for RAPHA, so NOSFA actually turns that into a frag.
That was nice. I think he needed to do that. He had to take a little risk there, but when you're behind, right, and you're looking at the time, you really got to start thinking about it. NOSFA with a very, very sick rocket rail combo. Is going to drop down right on his opponent's head, and it works out for him. 4-2, nothing the hook can do to get you out of that one, but off of the rail, Swan. Is that another conversion frag? It is, in fact, a midair. It's not super clean, though, 40. He's very, very low. He did grab another light. But we'll have to see.
Beautiful mobility, though. Yeah, not the cleanest. You're absolutely right. But, you know, NOSFA's not afraid to get a little scrappy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's like, I'm still in this. I'm only down a frag. I got some time. Doesn't have control, though. Mistiming on the mega, and that's going to open up the map even bigger for RAPHA now as he can make better position for this heavy. Is the bridge jump going to come out from NOSFA? No, the LG's so strong from RAPHA, and that's going to send NOSFA packing.
It also just goes to show how, right, like just playing to your game and how one frag can open up the door to 3 more or 2 more in NOSFA's case right now. So another fight at this time really playing out in RAPHA's favor as he has the LG handy and ready, and he easily picks up that frag. Here's his opponent up north towards the RL. And a couple of those rockets hitting there, but a nice little diagonal hook there for the LG kill on the bridge. And NOSFA has been struggling a little bit with some of those aggressive hooks coming in towards him.
Yeah, decent rail there, but again, he needs to hit more. And RAPHA, he's getting more and more comfortable with taking some of these crazy engagements and hooking like that and just getting so much damage and finishing with the shotgun. And that's just so quick. What do you do? How do you defend against that?
And this is what we're seeing in sort of the kind of extended meta of Athena. Sure, you get awesome mobility. You get to reach places that normally you wouldn't reach. But those types of frags that allow RAPHA to instantly go in for aggression, when he starts it off with a hit, a rocket hit, a rail, or even some LG, it's even more devastating. And then you see him finish it off with that shotgun, and that's just, it's brutal.
Oh no, and the cutoff. The read is perfect.
Read.
Decent damage from NOSFA, but again, RAPHA's timing these fights where he can just drop back onto the majors. He even has a light down in the pillars before he stacks back up for the heavy. And this is all going RAPHA's way. And yeah, the ability, the mobility of Athena is fantastic to just reposition in an instant. And after that rail or rocket, he can just open up the engagement however he wants.
And I mean, sitting back there again over by the rail, you get hit with that one rail from RAPHA, and then like, what are your options? You can't go around the curve over towards the rail. You have to go back, and even then your opponent knows exactly where you're going to be. Those types of rails are exactly what RAPHA wants to pick up. Now NOSFA very, very low. RAPHA knows it. He's going to go right back to where he knows his opponent has been kind of hanging out, and that is what I was talking about earlier when I said I'm not sure that bag of tricks is going to work past the 1 or 2 times that it happens. And there is another converted frag making it 10-3.
10-3 with just over a minute remaining, and it's all about item control. 11 heavies, 14 megas for RAPHA, 5 and 1 for NOSFA, and that's really the story of the game. Yes, the mobility, just the lack of damage from NOSFA, but again, it comes down to stack because he is doing good damage, but as you see, RAPHA's surviving with 30, 50 HP, and it all comes down to the items that NOSFA's not getting.
And in terms of the reads, they've been solid from RAPHA the whole game. But what also has been solid is that his weapon selection and his weapon choice in whatever scenario he seems to be in is pretty impeccable. There's been so many times where that unanswered lightning damage has just absolutely been devastating. Follows up with a rail. That time, yeah, it's going to be NOSFA who gets the best of it, but with less than 30 seconds left to go, there's not a whole lot that NOSFA can do to claw it back other than just grab another frag or 2 and just get ready mindset-wise for Corrupted Keep, which will be our next map.
Yeah, and as Dan mentioned, the Anarchy pick on Corrupted Keep, that was a nice frag right there. A little bit of confidence boost going into map number 2. But yeah, the Anarchy pick against Ranger on CK, we'll see exactly what kind of tricks he might have up his sleeve here, as RAPHA might be able to finish this one at the buzzer. And no, 11-5 is going to be it. RAPHA's going to take map number 1 over NOSFA.
I, so far, have really enjoyed every Athena game that we've seen here at QuakeCon so far. Even yesterday, there were some really phenomenal games where, again, yes, people use the hook for the mobility, but just to, like, mix it up and cause a little bit of chaos. I don't even remember who it was, but we saw an Athena pick on Woken, and it was just really awesome how, right, just kind of almost using it as some sort of hyper strafe, right? Just shooting it off to the side, getting over, hitting some nice LG or a shotgun, just it can be super devastating.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to reposition in an instant, especially after you open the engagement with decent damage of a rocket or a rail, it just makes it almost impossible to readjust. It makes it so hard on your opponent to try and get that bead back on you and get that damage. And that's kind of what we saw a lot from RAPHA. But as you mentioned, the reads were just really good. And his ability to move around the map and deny items, it all just played in exactly how he wants. He dictated the pace from the start, and it's just a rough ride for NOSFA. But getting ready for map number 2, you got to hope he's got a little something left. Otherwise, it could be a 2-0 here. We'll see.
It could be, and I mean not surprising versus someone like RAPHA, but it's also not necessarily what you want to see, right? You hope that every single one of these games goes to 2-1, goes to 3 games, but right, that's just a Quake lover's wish.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, exactly. We just want to see the most Quake, and these players are just like, I want 2-0s all the way through. Don't put this extra added stress on me. But things like that combination, the ability to hook back and keep the fight going when seemingly you should be dropping down, and then the opponent thinks, oh, I'm safe. No, Athena's right back in your face.
And of course, when you're dealing with players, or you're seeing this come from players who are, you know, absolutely at the top of their game and at the top of just Quake champions in general, they make it look so easy. But we've also seen, right, Athena play that just goes terrible, like one wrong hook, sending you flying the wrong direction, or hitting the lip of a platform that you're trying to get to. It can also go horribly wrong. In that case, everything went perfect for RAPHA.
Execution is key. You can't just pick the champion and be like, well, I'm going to win. So you do have to know how to use it. And we have seen some horrific flubs. It happens. It happens to the best of us. But RAPHA, very clean, clinical on that one.
We feel every single one of them, right? just like slam your face into the wall. Yeah, it's not great. But Corrupted Keep. Now, traditionally, this has been a map that has kind of gone back and forth. We talked about it a little bit this morning with Razy, right? Where it's like called Razy's Keep for a while. And then we went through that era where Corrupted Keep was kind of, you know, reclaimed by RAPHA, a lot of times using the BJ as a way to do it in that dual wield. In this case, though, I think Ranger's a really, really solid pick. I'm curious to see how the Anarchy can stack up, because obviously Control's going to play a big part of it, as it always does, but especially on Corrupted Keep. We saw some great examples of how you can just win Keep based off of Control and just starving your opponent. I don't know if that's necessarily the case of what will happen here, but I think with that orb, right, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I mean, earlier I saw Sage versus, I forget who it was, I think Zenaku, and he had a really great set play with the Dire Orb. We might see more of that, but I am a little worried with the Anarchy play. We might see NOSFA play more towards the heavy, as he does have the inject, which is like a pocket mega, but it doesn't matter what we think. We're live on map number 2 in the eyes of RAPHA right now, and it's do or die for NOSFA right now. He's got to win this to send us to a map number 3.
Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and pick up that heavy. He can just give up that mega, which is fine, but more importantly, grabs himself an LG, which I think will be a crucial part of his arsenal. Wow. Whoa. A very, very short orb there, but more importantly, just put him in the position to get that in-your-face shotgun blast. We know how much RAPHA loves that combo. We see it time and time again. Oh, the inject comes out. That saves his life, but it's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, and now it's just a matter of time. I don't think he can get out of this here. Does grab the mega.
That was actually pretty nice to be able to grab that.
All things considered, I mean, it saved his life, so fortunate for NOSFA there. But RAPHA, he kind of knows he has control. The items are synced up, so in that regard, RAPHA can't really take full map control, but you can see he's hunting. He wants to just try and press NOSFA. He doesn't necessarily want to play for the item. He wants to see what item NOSFA's going to play for and maybe go for that and try and get more damage. But both items are up. He's going to go back to the heavy armor, and again, Dire Orb in hand with that shotgun out, and you can tell in his head, he's just like, I'm ready for another combo.
Yep, that's exactly what he's setting up for right now, and you'll see that RAPHA right now is kind of preferring that heavy, and that makes a ton of sense. He's not going to have too much problem getting some health there. He forces out the inject yet again, and now on the chase, and it's not a great place to be. Yeah, you're avoiding giving your opponents flat frags, but you're also just running all the time, and eventually he's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, your time is going to run out. 2-0 for RAPHA. Again, the split between the items is a little too close. NOSFA going to get caught out, almost got pushed into the corner. I would say that's another frag, but luckily gets through the doorway. Still not a big stack here. He's still going to try and fight it, and he goes down once again, and now RAPHA can really open this up with the spawn force here, and he does. NOSFA needs to be careful. He's trying to get some damage right off the spawn with the nail gun. And oh no, he's going to re-aggress again. NOSFA 25 HP. He's a little too early for the Mega. RAPHA can kind of dictate this, but he, again, a merciful god. He's going to give up the Mega and go for the Heavy instead.
And I think that is probably pretty smart and a part of his overall game plan, right? If he keeps on doing this and always make sure, especially if he gobbles up all these lights, it's going to be hard for NOSFA to take these fights on. Now, get some good damage in like that. Nice LG. That will be certainly helpful. But as you mentioned, once those, if those power-ups are in sync, it becomes hard just to separate them unless it's completely unintentional, right? NOSFA now hurting. What does he do? Oh, I love it.
What a play. And again, just don't let him get armor. Oh no, and the inject was popped. It's gone, and now RAPHA has full map control. The light goes to NOSFA, but he knows that RAPHA has both majors, and he's got to play super defensive, but that is absolutely the strategy for RAPHA. You have your inject, have a Mega too, but you're never going to have any armor not on my watch.
This is a really, really impressive RAPHA right now. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising to folks. He is truly a champion, but his reads are on point. His aim is on point. His combos are on point. And, you get to, like, NOSFA's a great player, but when you have, when a player like RAPHA just basically pushes his back up against the wall and it feels like there's not much he can do, you just wonder, like, how the hell does he put something on the scoreboard?
He just makes it look so easy
he really
against
does.
These high-level players, and it's absolutely insane. And RAPHA now, again, trying to deny this upper light armor. Take the Mega if you want. I couldn't care less. I'm just going to keep gobbling up armors, making sure that I try and get the vials when I can. He has Dire Orb in hand if he wants to get a little crazy. A little bit of LG. NOSFA does have a decent stack here. He just needs better damage. He's down 6-0, 4 minutes in, and he's just got to find a way to start damaging, start getting some more armors, and eventually, hopefully, get into the Heavy. And he's going to start now. There's the Dire Orb, a little bit short, and RAPHA's going to say, I need to get out, and he actually gets caught on the jump pad, and that was very risky, Weed.
Yeah, RAPHA's put out 850 damage with that LG there. It's really been just ripping NOSFA apart. Now NOSFA has an opportunity here. Big rocket saves him, but popping up in the air, he easily gets that shotgun blast. Now, kind of going at it once again. Unfortunately, it wasn't super clean. That Heavy raining down on top of NOSFA's head, and he's forced to get out of there. He did at least put a frag on the board, which is nice. He's got about 5.5 minutes to try to claw this one back, but good to stop that momentum that was clearly in the hands of RAPHA.
Yeah, I mean, even after that, the Dire Orb, and there it is, inject. NOSFA has to get out of there, but he's just won the Heavy. Again, those two defensive rockets opened it up, and RAPHA was like, I still have control, no matter what you just did to me. There's a little bit of LG tickle, and NOSFA's literally running for his life, and RAPHA just trying to get a stray bullet to land, but it's only a matter of time. NOSFA has such little items to work with.
And, Corrupted Keep is just a map where you don't get to catch your breath. Like, the only time you do is when you're dead, right? And you just are waiting to respawn in. Also, not really a great strat here. So look at RAPHA's stack right now in comparison to NOSFA, right? He's trying to get his hands on a light, but RAPHA's done such a phenomenal job of even locking those down. He's got 11 lights in addition to the 8 heavies and the 4 megas. Only NOSFA's got 7, right? So now 7-1, and with RAPHA also focusing and taking out those lights, what's an Anarchy to do?
I have nothing. I mean, this is a brutal situation to try and dig your way out of here, and RAPHA is really utilizing that shotgun orb combo well. Good LG, and again, denying armors wherever he can and making sure NOSFA's always on the back foot. Overheal all you want, but armor is going to be very, very spare and limited for you. And again, Dire Orb combo might come up here. A little bit of LG, might re-engage here with the machine gun. Stacks about even. NOSFA using the inject, trying to get away and get position on this Heavy. Is he going to get it, Wheat?
I mean, he wants to real bad, but unfortunately pulling it back out. Orb right on top of it does steal it away.
Look at that. RAPHA willing to risk his life just to make sure he doesn't get armor, has the rotation on the Mega, and again, nothing on the map for NOSFA to work with.
I mean, that's certainly some confidence, right? Just beaming from RAPHA here. And you know, seeing this performance makes me wonder why more people do not ban Keep versus RAPHA. I mean, I know there's no real win.
Can you
right?
ban like 4 or 5 maps,
exactly,
please? Can I just
exactly.
skip all these maps?
But this one, it's very consistently seems to be one that RAPHA just has a comfort level. I think it just fits the flow that RAPHA likes to be at there, always constantly dishing out damage, always thinking about what weapon you've got, a lot of close range shotgun, using that heavy machine gun, right? All of the elements of RAPHA tends to really like, they're all a part of Keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, taking the damage, but he has the ability to just fall back on these health bubbles and these shards and items, and Heavy's going to be up next. He has decent position here. NOSFA stuck with nothing. Every time I look at the top of the screen and look at the stacks, it's just always in favor of RAPHA.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, RAPHA's always been really good too at like just gobbling up lights as well, but again, the reads, right? It's just this, it's like a sixth sense here on Corrupted Keep, always knowing where his opponent is, and there's another LG meltdown.
Just pushed his face into the wall. Oh no, the spawn frag in the red room as well. 220 left on the board, down by 8. I mean, NOSFA, what are you to do?
I mean, at this point, there isn't much he can do, but I'll tell you what. You know, we were talking about even seeing RAPHA in the round of 16. Like, oh, we're curious to see how RAPHA will play if he's in championship form.
No.
He's in championship form, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. This guy has a future in this game. I tell you what, keeps playing like this.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what. When you sit at the top for as long as someone like RAPHA does, and then suddenly you get cut down a couple times and lose the chance at that belt, I think you want it back. I think you get hungry. This is a hungry RAPHA.
Yeah, he hates losing. He takes that personally. And if he's the Jordan of Quake, then Shoddy Pippin is definitely helping him here, as I think he has close to 1,000 damage, 800 damage with the Shoddy alone on this map. And yes, that last frag was absolutely brutal. Minute 30 remaining, adding more. I don't even know how many Dire Orb frags he has now, but this is just painful now.
It's rough. There's some more LG in the red room, another one going down. And you know, I was thinking, you know, early on, NOSFA, although he was on the run a lot of times, he was playing pretty smart, right? He was dealing with the pressure that RAPHA was putting on, but it just got to the point where that pressure just became way too much, and there was not a whole lot that NOSFA could do. 13-2 here with a minute left to go. And even Orban right into the wall, giving it a little kiss before you get the frag.
Yeah, doesn't really matter because the shotgun's going to come through clutch.
Yeah. Yeah. And the final moments here, both players super low, but we've seen this before. Unfortunately, with no inject for another 5 seconds, that is going to be yet another frag. Dan's shaking his head already. It's like, that's no good. Final 30 seconds, 40. And that's a pretty convincing score win right there for RAPHA. Oh,
yeah.
Ouch. Wow.
And that's the great thing about RAPHA, right? Kind enough to help NOSFA fly over in boot camp and then just absolutely be like, well, sorry, buddy, we ran into each other in the brackets, but here we go. Oh. There's no friends in the arena, Weed.
What is his 40% LG? 2,000 damage, and then another 1,000 damage. The shotgun, amazing victory for RAPHA, going to make it a 2-0 for him. Hugging it out. Pretty sure NOSFA said, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead to me.
But Shane here, someone said on home turf, and he made it his home, Dan.
Dude, this is meant to be a game. This is meant to be fun, and RAPHA just doesn't let you play. I feel really bad for NOSFA, man. He just got beat up for 20 minutes, and it was, you know, miraculous to see watching RAPHA, but you gotta feel bad for NOSFA. He couldn't play Quake.
I think RAPHA got also champ and map picks that he would have liked versus NOSFA, right? And I don't know if there's anything that could have been done differently during the pick spans, right? Because there's not a whole lot you could do to try to eliminate that potential from RAPHA, but it just seemed like the perfect storm for him.
Yeah, I think
he made it rain.
I mean, he did, and I would say there's a reason why we haven't seen a lot of Anarchy, because he's not as effective on land, right? Because you are hitting harder, and so that damage goes a lot further. And we saw it exactly here. RAPHA just destroying Anarchy in these fights, and we have to reflect on that one pick, right? He could have picked Ranger or Anarchy, and he chose Anarchy, and that requires tempo, control, and an inability for your opponent to just cripple you, and RAPHA did all of it.
I'm pretty sure online Quake I've heard like, oh, Anarchy's tough to hit with that LG. Well, there you go, 40%. That wasn't too
only
tough there.
2,000 damage.
5 frags, only 2,000. I mean, pretty impressive that a majority of his damage came from LG and that shotgun. So.
Yeah, nearly as much damage with a shotgun as NOSFA did with the LG, and that just shows the level of dominance again, right?
Just brutal.
Cripple him with the LG, and as soon as he gets close to you, you can just blow him up.
Yeah, the Dire Warp Shoddy combo was huge, and again, it almost seemed like another day at the office for RAPHA. Now NOSFA has to start his journey through the lower bracket, which is a nightmare.
It is. It's looking to be a nightmare down there. So RAPHA takes this one in our first round of 8 game here on the main stage, but don't worry, we have more round of 8 action coming at you. I'm not even sure what map is next, but I guarantee you it's going to be great, right, Dan? It's going to be good, right?
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, it's Quake.
Who is it?
Maxter Kilson.
Maxter Kilson.
Right.
Going to be great. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, Maxter versus Kilson here on the main stage of QuakeCon 2023. Don't go away. We'll be right back.